Let's face it, flying would be way easier if we didn't have to go through TSA. I mean, waiting in line constantly, having to take off your shoes, your belt. Oh, what's that? They're rerunning your bag through a second time because you forgot to take your laptop out. These are just some of the things that are so annoying about flying. I mean, we can't all afford first class after all, or even a private jet plane.
I never dreamed I would own a plane.
And I'm sure those in first class still have to wait in line regardless. I always thought this was just an aftermath of the 9/11 events that had occurred. But actually, it was because of terrorist attacks that happened after 9/11. I know. I hadn't even heard that this was a thing until I read about it online one day. So I thought I'd make a video about it. From underwear bombings to the shoe bombing. There are actually some weird things that terrorists had tried to do in order to terrorize. And if that's something you're interested in listening today, then keep on watching. Welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, hi, my name is Quinn and I do videos on all things travel, lifestyle, and everything to fit your entertainment needs. Hi. I just want to put a disclaimer out there. I know I sound a little stuffed in the nose and that's because I am recovering from the flu. So yeah, bear with me doing this video. Well, let's get on to it. On September the 11th, 2001, 4 commercial airliners were hijacked by terrorists and crashed into the 2 World Trade Centers and the Pentagon. After these nightmarish events took place, the Transportation Security Administration, also known as the TSA, was thus created. After the creation of TSA, it ensured safety for all passengers and everyone in the aviation transportation realm. I remember my parents talking to me about what things were like before the events of 9/11. You see, I was 5 years old when 9/11 took place, and I don't really remember anything from that day, or flight transportation overall before that. A good example of this is in Home Alone. You could see that he drops his tickets among with all of the other tickets, and yet somehow that's the only thing you needed in order to get onto the plane. It was very much like a bus stop. You kind of just go there, you give them your ticket, and you board the plane. I think the most security that they had was a metal detector that you had to walk through beforehand. My dad even told me that you could walk with your loved ones to the gates and wave them goodbye as they boarded their plane. Such different times then. Now, things have changed drastically. And honestly, it didn't all happen all at once. It was after a series of more terrorist attempts that had caused us to have rules upon rules upon rules upon rules. Once the TSA was created, the very first rule that they put into place, they took away anything sharp that you were allowed to bring with you. That includes box cutters, razors, a knife. All of these things you were not allowed to bring on any flight with you, and they would be confiscated. This was because on September 11th, 2001, one of the flight attendants by the name of Betty Ong.
So I'm in the middle of editing and I just realized I put the wrong information here. But Betty Ong was essentially the person who contacted dispatch, informing them that unfortunately 2 of her peers aboard the plane had been attacked and stabbed by some of the hijackers.
As one of the terrorists tried to take over and hijack the plane.
American 11, are you trying to call?
The cockpit is not answering their phone. Our number 1 has been stabbed and our 5 has been stabbed. What's going on, Betty? The crap is erratic again.
Honestly, this is an obvious first. Why this one should go. I mean, any types of weapons at all should not be allowed on an airplane, and that is the first reason why they decided to make that the first rule. This was enforced just 1 month after the event, on October 1st, 2001. The next rule that came into place after these series of events was full screening baggage. They did full x-rays, and they thoroughly checked through everybody's checked and carry-on baggage. And not only that, but all of the cockpits were reinforced so nobody could break into them easily, and the air marshal service was expanded, and there were more armed air marshals aboard flights.
Everyone remain calm. I'm an air marshal.
Not even more than a few months later, things got even stricter. A man by the name of Richard Reed in December of 2001 was arrested for another bombing attempt. He really tried it, but he was a failure in his attempt, and that was because, miraculously, the day he was supposed to board his flight, a transatlantic flight from Paris to Miami, he was set and ready. He had his bomb in his shoe. He was actually apprehended while he was going through security because he looked suspicious. After being withheld for 24 hours, he was ready to go, and they reboarded and reticketed his flight for the next day. After that whole craze and everything that he went through, his shoes got, pretty sweaty, and which wet the bomb that he was going to detonate. So upon trying to detonate the bomb while he was in the air, he was unsuccessful as it wouldn't light. A passenger on this flight 63 of American Airlines had complained of a burning smell, and it became quite smoky in the room that they were in. The flight attendant came over to the man and said, "Smoking is not allowed on the plane." And he apologized profusely. He was like, "Oh, okay, I'll put it away. It wasn't until after the second time she warned him, she realized what he was doing. It took a whole team of them to strain him, tie seat belts around him, plastic handcuffs, leather waist belts around him just to get him to stop. An off-duty doctor that was on the plane found a tranquilizer in the first aid kit and was able to sedate him. But thank God he was not successful in his endeavors, because that would have been just another horrific story. So yeah, thank you, Richard. That is the reason why we have to take our shoes off now. However, shoe removal didn't really quite become a TSA rule and strictly enforced until 2006. A year later, by December of 2002, the TSA deployed very thorough 3D x-rays, very similar to those of CAT scans that you use in hospitals. Those were used part of the screening process to check luggages, and it proved to be very useful. It was so clear and so amazing. They claimed that you could even see down to the brand of soap that was in each bag. Things were going pretty smooth there for a while there, but intelligence reports had discovered a new terrorist plot aimed at aviation. Terrorists were conspiring to use a new form of a bomb, and this would include putting bombs into liquid containers. What they would do is they would get a branded plastic bottle, make it look like there's some type of soda in there, but really the bomb would be placed in it as well. This definitely put TSA on high alert and authority officials. They thought it would be best for the upcoming months. People were no longer allowed to bring on carry-ons, and they were only allowed a personal item. No liquids at all of any type were allowed to board the plane. This caused a lot of panic among the crowd, and a lot of flights were canceled because of this rule. However, the rules over time had definitely lightened up as more technology came out to help the screening process of all liquids. And eventually, the liquid rule had come about that we're all aware of now, and that is no more than 3.4 milliliters would be allowed at a time. And they had to come in clear plastic bags so that they can screen it easier. I actually did hear of a rumor that we're going to possibly be able to bring 2 liters or up to 2 liters of liquids on flights now. I don't know how true that is or if it's fake news, but if that is, that would be pretty cool. That's because they're saying that the technology is so advanced today that they're able to do that. I mean, that'd be pretty nice that I can bring my conditioner, because your girl needs more than 3.4 ounces of conditioner. Oh, you would think all the threats would end there, but honey, you are sadly mistaken.
I promise I'm not smiling because of the topic, but because I have a tendency to oversmile whenever I talk about really uncomfortable things.
Because, of course, there is yet more terrorists trying to terrorize. And unfortunately, I don't know when it's gonna end. But the next person on our list is the infamous underwear bomber. Yeah, you heard me right. an underwear bomber. In December of 2009, on Christmas Day, Al-Qaeda supporter Umar Farouk, I don't even know if I'm saying his name right, tried to detonate a bomb in his underwear. Umar had traveled from Ghana all the way to Amsterdam and was instructed by Al-Qaeda to board a Northwest Airlines flight from Amsterdam all the way to Detroit. And the instructions were clear. Detonate the bomb, hide it in your underwear, or hide it in your underwear and then detonate the bomb while you are aboard the plane. Fortunately, his plan also did not succeed. Someone complained of foul odors coming from the lavatory. It was Umar trying to light up and explode his device. After walking out of the bathroom, someone noticed that his pants were caught on fire. With the whole flight attendant team going to burn out the fire, he was then arrested. He told the flight attendants on board of his plan and that in his pocket was a device that contained explosive powder in it, which was originally sewn in his underwear.
This motherfucker is actually on fire.
He was then arrested and treated for his first and second degree burns that he got from that. Suits him right. After that, he was tried in Michigan, and I don't know what else kind of came of him. I'm assuming he got arrested. And by the end of 2010, full body scanners were the next part of TSA restrictions and regulations. John Kelly, who was the Secretary of Homeland Security at the time, had found that intelligence reports had stated terrorists were developing a new type of bomb. One that was strong and powerful enough to destroy a plane, but yet small enough to fit into your laptop. Sound familiar? Yeah. This happened in March 2017, which was actually not that long ago if you think about. These reports were discovered, which is why they had constructed an even more thorough search of technology, laptops, and iPads, everything in the technology realm. This is why they put an even bigger emphasis on checking carry-ons, because carry-ons could be much more of a threat. The reason why checked-in baggages aren't as big of a deal for TSA is because they have the machine large enough and more powerful to go through checked baggage. But when it comes to carry-ons, you got to think about the person, their body, what they could be carrying on them, with them, because in order to detonate a bomb, it would be easier and more likely for the person to be there with the device in order to do it, to make sure it goes smoothly. And that's a huge reason why it just takes so long to get through dang security. And I must admit, they are keeping us safe after all. And that brings us to the present day that we are in now. Yes, we have all of our security measures in place, but that does not stop terrorists from creative ideas from arising. And believe it or not, we are still getting threats even until now in the year 2024. There's going to be newer ways of security and ways that TSA will do what they can in order to keep us safe. This was just from a couple weeks ago, and this is the most recent yet. I'm going to read you a report that I saw online. It's a news report from News Nation. This is recent events that had occurred just over the holiday season, so let me share it with you. The Transportation Security Administration, aka the TSA, is monitoring a potential terror threat against the United States from an affiliate of Al-Qaeda, known as the AQAP. The group has released alarming videos online, calling for attacks on the U.S. airlines, prominent figures, and iconic locations. Posted videos this week during terrorist actions on global flights, Times Square, and the New York City subway. The content includes specific calls for attacks on Jewish and Western targets, singling out American, British, and French airlines. Notably, high-profile individuals such as Bill Gates, Elon Musk, and former Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Shalom Bernanke are named as the potential targets. A meticulously produced instructional video accompanies these threats, featuring depictions of airplanes exploding and providing detailed instructions on bomb making. The video goes further to offer tips on bypassing airport security measures and boarding flights undetected. In response to these threats, the TSA issued a statement acknowledging awareness of the AQAP communication. The agency emphasized its commitment to the ongoing security of transportation. Whew. Well, with that being said, I don't think that we should be afraid of flying overall because we have all of these security measures in place in order to protect us and keep us safe. This video is just to inform you overall on travel and the potential dangers around it and inform you what is going on in the world and behind closed doors. We shouldn't be afraid of these things, but in fact, educated on the matter. Well, that's it for today, folks. If you found this interesting at all, then why don't you go ahead and subscribe and come back for the next one. I will be seeing you later. Safe travels, my friends. Big Daddy